Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock. This meeting will please come to order. Let's continue with roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Chris Flores. Present. Alderman Pablo Martinez. Here. Alderman George Hernandez.
Here.
Alderman David Smith.
Here.
Alderman David Boyce. And myself, Mayor Garcia. Let us stand for a moment of silence in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We're going to continue with this agenda, but the next item, we are going to have to recess the regular meeting and we'll reconvene into a executive session. Starting at a closed session. City Council will recess its open meeting and reconvene in closed session. Into the Texas Government Code section 551.071- for consultation with the city attorney and the special counsel to receive legal advice regarding a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the state bar of Texas clearly conflicts with chapter 551 of the government code to include the following measures. Personnel matter. So at this time, we will recess the open meetings and we will reconvene into executive meeting at 6:03.
Would you like for me to put everybody in the waiting room on Zoom?
Now, we're going to,
Put everybody in the waiting room on Zoom?
great, actually, we're gonna.
Except for Cynthia. You guys are gonna leave so I can leave it on? I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it'd be all right.
Okay. I'll hold the board then. Hey, brother. Matthew, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I think that message to Norma's Zoom.
What was that again?
I went ahead and fixed it. I can hear you guys loud and clear now. Thank you.
Hey, George,
Yes.
George, I'm gonna go ahead and, are you gonna connect to them in the executive session, or what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so I'm gonna call Chris, and he's gonna put me on speaker. I'm just gonna listen in and
Okay.
if I have to say something, it's gonna be through his phone.
All right, Cynthia is online here too, so I'm guessing she's gonna have a way to talk to them over in the other office.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Okay, we see.
so I guess we need to watch the movie? No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
You may.
And Monday?
No, no problem.
I know. Is that the, no, that wasn't Saturday. Saturday was 6.5 hours. You want to watch the Monday? Correct. That is correct. We put on the yeah, we haven't finished putting our camera, our system of vision set up, and it's hard to hear some of the people back in the back. I know I've addressed this, but not while the meeting was on. Not while the meeting was on. You want to stay after? The window is still recording. But anybody can watch it. You can watch it on the phone. Are you saying that you couldn't hear any of the audio? Some of it. It's not like I don't want to get it here. Hey, Matthew. I'm pretty sure since this is just like a special call meeting, you're not gonna have any public comments.
Okay.
Not that you can't observe, the public can observe.
No worries. I'll probably just log on when there's another public comment opportunity. Thank you.
You got it, man. I don't have the next presentation.
Gentlemen, the council is back. So it's 10 minutes after 7. The city council will reconvene into regular session upon conclusion of the closed session and may recall any items posted for closed session for action if necessary. We're now into regular session at 10 minutes after 7. Okay, going back to regular item number 3. Action item. The following items are for consideration, discussion, and action. A. Consideration with possible action for proposed tax rate calculation for 2022. Yep.
They would like to, well, this. We've got two choices. And I think Ernest is logged on. You share my screen, Greg?
Yeah, hold on just a second. Yeah.
Okay. So then,
There you go.
in column J, if we say that the tax rate where we're currently at, we will allow 107,000 into change in our items. So, if the city stays at the same tax rate that we're set at right now, we'll have $107,754 in our interest in sinking. And the interest in sinking is the debt that the city, the taxpayers, the whole city owes to pay on, I guess, the certificate obligation that was, when was that? Oh, that's what we do. Yeah. Totally. In column L, and y'all can't see this, if we increase, now let me go back. If we stay at that tax rate, and then, the $15 that you pay on the utility bill, and for commercial and industrial pay a little bit more, it's called our capital improvement fee. We will add that to what we think we're going to get for interest and sinking. And we will have about 19,000 left over in our debt service. However, if we do that, we don't have enough money in our maintenance and operation to carry on with the city business. And we've experienced, and I don't know how far you want to go, because I know you weren't really a day, Pablo, but we had to cut a check for 177,000. I don't know that. Okay. That was the lower people actually told about. That's right. So the comptroller made an error, and we, as a matter of fact, they started that error in 2018, after April. So the city of Gregory was receiving sales tax revenue money that we could spend on anything to do with maintenance and operation, pay salaries, whatever we needed to do. Under audit of someone some business, it was discovered that we were paying way too much money. So we had to return it was actually 180,000 and some change, and it gave us a 2% discount if we paid it at one time. Which, by the way, we didn't discuss, I don't know if Norman did, we have to go back to 4B and recover 25% of the funds that the general fund paid, the city Gregory. And so that check has been approved. So that throws us actually puts us in a deficit because we depended on sales tax for, well, I can tell you what that number was. I think it was 450,000 is what we budgeted for the sales tax revenue.
Yes.
Yes. So last year and the year prior, I think our budget was $450,000 for sales tax revenue. Now we have other revenues in our fund. We were looking at some maintenance and operation, which comes from ad valorem taxes. I think we budgeted 593, and we think pretty close to that this year. But without the sales tax revenue we need, and if we don't raise tax rates, the ad valorem, or look at adopting a reasonable rate, we will be in deficit. We can't completely fund municipal court to the tune of about $75,000 deficit. The utility fund, we call it the system fund, but it's your enterprise fund where water and sewer activity is. We might can make the way Ernest and I looked at it, and I think at the bottom of the existing spreadsheet that we distributed to council, it looks like we have maybe $12,000 to spare. Now, bear in mind, when that budget was put together, I think we had contingency added in here, which really shouldn't be there, because when you're looking at fund budgeting contingency money coming in, you're actually trying to use that money twice, or it looks like you are, because it messes with your fund balance. So the only reason that we looked like we did very well last year, or this current budget, I call it last year, is because we had that contingency fund. Now, we didn't have to transfer any of that money in, but Ernest can speak to how it affects your fund balance. So it's like we have $200,000 in the bank, but we're saying we're going to use that 200,000 over in the budget, but we never transfer it. So we're actually telling folks we got $400,000 out there, and it doesn't work out.
I got maybe an idea that people can talk to money because they're in that approach to Spain. I know we have a deadline for this, so
well, this is our second. We started the clock twice. I think you got all the marks of it. So, Ernest, correct me if I'm wrong, please. We don't have to adopt. We don't.
Yeah, this is the proposed tax rate, and what we're wanting to do is just have that way the INS pays for the debt service. So going from say 10 cents to 20 cents, and then that alleviates the transfer out in the system fund, the 53,877, because the system fund should be making money. And then we alleviate the general fund from having to make a transfer also. So that's where we're going from the 70 cents to 80 cents would change. To get everything balanced, because you know, you're adding an IT fund. So we're trying to get the INS to pay for that and get our system fund back to profitability. Because we know down the road you got projects to deal with, and then it helps the general fund. Now, and it's like 105,000. So let's say it's 100,000. So if you go to 70 cents, then we've got to cut 100,000 out. And we know on the budget a couple of weeks ago, I mean, we dissected pretty hard. Tonight, you're just, if we set the proposed tax rate at the 80 cents, that doesn't mean you're adopting it. That just means we can put in the paper, we can still work the budget, and then we got to come back and do an adoption. But we want to get the 80 cents just on the proposed, and then we can go back, we can go through the budget and see where you're comfortable, what, if there's things you want to cut. You know, we're trying to address wages but you know, naturally it's you as a council's decision. But we're asking for just the proposed tax rate. It doesn't mean you're going to adopt that. You could go lower later, but you know, we're trying to justify and show that we're not going to reserves. We're having a true balanced revenue versus expenditures.
And by doing so, on the proposed rate, what the city will do is the capital improvement charge we'll have to rescind that ordinance. And so all residents, matter of fact, everybody who's paying a capital improvement fee from the $15 up to, I think we have a couple of 200, depending on the size, that goes away. Well, we can't charge both, sir.
Depending on what's about.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, did everybody hear what Mr. Garza said? Did y'all understand it? Because I want to make it very clear. There's rumors flying around out there that's nonsense and negative. Did y'all hear? No. So right now, what you said is tonight, we're gonna vote to adopt the
No,
proposed,
to set the proposed rate,
to vote on a proposed budget.
Yeah.
Not
proposed rate tonight.
yeah, proposed rate. That's what.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't mean it's gonna be adopted. So.
Does not mean it's gonna be adopted.
They raise the taxes. Did y'all hear?
No. So like she said, why propose it if you're not gonna adopt it? I mean, are we in a situation to where the city's only got $100,000 left to spend?
Well, that's not how it interpreted. That's not how it's. It's a proposal right now.
I understand what you're saying. I'm asking you. If it's a proposal and you're gonna talk about it, what are you gonna come up with? I'm asking if you have $100,000, or you guys gonna be broke or what?
Okay, let me explain this. Right now, what we're doing is we're proposing a rate, okay, but still, what's gonna happen? You're gonna have a public hearing where you can come back and voice your opinion on this. This is not saying we're adopting.
No, I understand all that. That's perfectly, I understand. But what I wanna know is, what situation on the city's financial? Or we got, my understanding is $100,000.
If we have more money like EPG, the rural place where we could get from there instead of breaking RTA.
That's not even, that's something completely separate.
I mean, there's money there, but
What that money we are paid. No, not a full loan.
That's not a budget item. Can we put it to a vote for the whole city to vote on it? If you go higher than the 80, then we have to go election, but the thing is, you're on the time frame to adopt your budget because your fiscal year is coming in on September the 1st. I mean, October 1st.
But the time frame has always been there, correct? Something So this should have been done earlier, and weren't we supposed to have a public hearing first?
No,
And
public
then-
hearing you won't have a public hearing until, September. To adopt, before we adopt the budget and
Point
our
of order,
tax rate.
this is not a public hearing,
Then you have a public hearing.
this is not a public hearing. We'll be having a public hearing later on for comments. Right now, we need to continue.
Yes, but he addressed us. He addressed.
Okay, but it's for comment, friend. Right now, he's asking.
He's
There you go.
I was just simply asking if y'all understood.
How did we get to this point? Well, we can't discuss that right now before.
Let's continue.
How did we get this? Okay. Budget. Okay, well, we're not for open one.
Okay, Bill.
Mayor, council. You can see on the screen, if,
Can you turn it this way?
I need to address the mayor and the council, anyway. At point 801-901 on our maintenance and operation. If we do that, that puts us at $789,421.
Bill, let me interrupt you there. At 80 cents, remember 20 cents will be a no, so you'll be at 60 cents, so it'll be back at 592. So you have the, you're in the general fund, you have the INS in there. We got to take out the 200,000 out of the M&O rate. The 789, that's got to be the 592 and change. And I think as we go over the line items from what the budget workshop before, to see what do we cut, because this is very tight.
So what? The first proposal that's So that would end up with a general fund balance of about $52,000. That does nothing to address the 75,000 deficit in the municipal court. We depend on some enforcement and adjudication in the municipal court. We're think we can be around 450, but we may need to reduce that to 450,000 in fines. But we got to bear in mind that whatever gets reduced or added in the municipal court impacts the general fund, because the city receives a fine portion of the citations. So there again, if you want to be generous with citation or fine revenue, then it'll reflect in general fund. As you cut down general, the fine revenue in municipal board, it affects your revenue in general fund. Our, if you want to look at the amortization, this council, I don't know if I've actually published this. I think Norma probably said it to council. I want to go over the what we're going to owe. So March the 1st of 2023, we need to make an interest payment of $10,254. September the 1st of 2023, we need to make the principal and interest payment of $205,254. That comes from INS. That's our INS obligation. There's not an easy answer. Well, I wish there was. The sales tax thing, not only just giving the money back or having to return the money that's rightfully owed to the comptroller. Now we have to reduce our sales tax revenue by some reasonable amount. Norman and I have looked at it, Tony and I, we've gone over this. It appears that we might be able to do 31,500 a month, but that comes during budget time, but that's way far below what we want to get. And we have money in reserve. We have some money in reserves. System fund has some money in reserves. We have a little bit in debt service. If we do go with the adopted or with the proposed rate, we still have to move about $15,000 or $18,000 into, yeah, it'll be $18,400 we'll have to take from reserve just to get to zero after we make our note payment next year. We're funded for this year, we're just fine.
And this is with the proposed of 8.01.
Yes, sir. I don't know if I copied that on the councils. Do you have a, no, they didn't have it. On the debt service worksheet on line 25. It's the very bottom one, under budget, but the first budget column. That $18,000 is what we'll have to come out of reserve.
Us doing this allowed it to get the tax rate down like 2 cents. So we were trying to take advantage of every situation we could.
Either way, it looks like we're gonna have to be making a big budget.
It does, I want to discuss options.
I mean, I'm just saying,
You can't budget your reserve, but we will have to amend. If you don't look at increased up to the 8 point or the 801 that we're talking about, then we definitely have a budget deficit. And we'll have to cut. We're basically, actually, if you want to look at it, we're basically having to cut our sales tax, what we sent back plus a little bit. Because we'll be 75,000 deficit in the municipal court, and we haven't talked about capital projects yet.
And Bill, remember, we suggest paying the sales tax back this year so we don't get into next year and complicate our, make our budget a harder issue.
And that was one reason we suggested we work with Norma and is to go ahead and pay that sales tax in full, take advantage of the 2% discount. And then get back to whatever we're gonna receive a month. If we don't have to take part of that and send it back to the comptroller and pay it out over 30 years, 30 months. And I guess what's before you is the proposed rate. Is that correct? Yes. And then the budget would be later, so. And we can certainly go back to the table on the budget. We cut quite a bit. We talked about. We talked about maybe. Hiring freeze for 3 months of next year. Evaluate what our revenue is. And there's several ways to approach it. But we're trying to look at everything and work with council and get your input also.
So how much would it be possibly the hiring freeze? How much would that go down?
Well, we didn't really look at it because we kind of studied a little bit. Because they was 2007, 8, yeah. It's probably about 14,000 a year. And that's just a rough number. Yeah.
Commercial water with $1 million. Is that gonna happen this year or until next year?
Let's see, we've got, we're not sure about the 10% that's coming from San Pat.
We don't know, there's gonna be an increase, there may be an increase from San Pat, so. Once they send us the increase, they're saying maybe up to 10%, as far as then we have to pass it on to the citizens, so. We, as of right now, we don't know. We don't know what it is. So we can't look at as far as, what's gonna go out and what's gonna be. We don't have a number yet. Usually they don't let off their rates until November, and then it will go into effect January 1st.
Now, the system fund is, as far as what you're asking, Pablo, I think we could probably be comfortable with, looking at 540,000 on water bill payments received. Of course, we have to pay San Pat for that. So we can keep the same, so, you know, if you want to, I'm saying we can keep the same, revenue budget for that. But if we have a 10% increase in water, so we'll pass just that 10% on to our residents. And then we need to look at a 10% increase on the sewer side. Well, yeah, because we're gonna have right.
Mayor, are we allowed to ask any questions? Because I'm confused with 10% and 10 cents.
It's up to you. It's a rough situation. 10% is a proposed increase. We won't know. Apparently, we only got an email saying that San Pat would possibly go up 10%.
Yeah, that's just, I mean, it's just.
We don't know, but we haven't had an increase in 2 years, so we're probably looking at an increase.
So, we chop on it more.
This is their home.
Okay, gentlemen, I have a motion on the floor. Accept the proposal of 0.081901.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed tax rate of 80190 or 0.80190.
Motion made by Representative Torres. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second by Representative David Smith. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Proposal of 0.82192. And I will continue on with item D, consideration action to set a date of public hearing needed for proposed tax rate calculation for 2022.
I would need to. And speaking of March, we're more or less putting in shoes September the 19th.
That's sufficient time for the.
Yes, this is gonna give me time to put it in the paper. I'll submit it Thursday, will be published on the following Thursday, which is the first, gives them the week, gives the people enough time to read it, and that way it'll be on the 19th. We couldn't get it in sooner than that. And at the same time, we can probably be home to the budget hearing.
Yeah, we're already on deadline.
Need a motion for a public hearing for September 19, 2022. For the proposed tax rate calculation.
Mayor, I'll make a motion for the public hearing, which is set for September 19th.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Pablo Martinez for the public hearing. The tax rate calculation for September 1922.
I'll second that motion.
Motion second by Alderman Chris Flores. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. September 19, 22 for the public hearing for the calculation of the tax rate. Okay, let's continue with item number C. Discussion with possible action of budget for fiscal year 2022, 2023.
So this is what we know. This one was just if y'all want to make changes or accept what we have,
I would recommend we stick with what we have right now, and this, they want to sit down again for a couple of hours with this.
well, we stick with the proposed tax rate. With the other everything is, we'll do, no, chocolate more, but I don't know if we're gonna do it. And yeah, well, it's discussing later. I mean, are you good or? Mary, after- Yeah. Question. Yes.
Need a motion on before. Take possible action on the budget fiscal year 2022, 2023.
I'll place a motion to accept the proposed budget for fiscal year 22.
Motion on the floor, by the next order. Accept the budget for fiscal year 2022, 2023. Second by David Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Here comes the best part of my meeting. I need a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, can I ask, quick
Make a
question?
motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:47.
Motion made by Honorable Martinez to adjourn the meeting.
I will be back to the work.
That's so fast. So fast.
Second by David Smith. Okay, in favor?
Hey, Mayor, now that the meeting is closed,
Carried. The meeting is now adjourned at 7:45.